Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I really appreciate you being here. Today we are going to answer all of your questions about shadowing that you submitted through my Instagram stories, so thank you so much for submitting those. I hope that I can provide some insight and some good information for y'all. I have a honey oat milk latte here with me, so go grab your favorite drink and let's get into it. Okay, so our first question, this girl asks, what are some great places to shadow in College Station? And if you don't know, I graduated from Texas A&M University, which is located in College Station, Texas, and I'm assuming she is too. So I had the amazing opportunity to work in 2 offices located in that area, as well as be a patient or shadow at least in 3 offices. And all 3 offices I would highly recommend. They have different approaches to chiropractic, so they're great places to start if you're just looking to get started and learn more about what chiropractic is or shadow. So those offices are Dr. Patrick Linney with Cutting Edge Chiropractic, Dr. Nathan Seahorn with Campion Chiropractic, and then the 3rd office is College Station Chiropractic. They have four doctors the last time that I checked. They each have a little bit different approach to chiropractic, so that's a great office if you're looking for multiple doctors and multiple approaches to chiropractic in one place. But College Station has tons of chiropractors in that area, and I don't think you can really go wrong. The 3 offices that I did mention the last time I checked are always welcoming students to shadow. And if you are an Aggie, the Texas A&M University Chiropractic Society is still up and going, and if you need their contact information, please comment below and I will be happy to connect you with them. All right, this next question asks, how long should I stay? I never want to overstay the welcome. That's a great question. I think sometimes we can forget about that until we're walking into the office. But once you hear back from a doctor and they agree that you're welcome to shadow, usually doctors will say a specific time, but if they don't, that probably means that they're pretty chill about how long you stay. And that is the case for most chiropractors that I've shadowed. They are like, overstay your welcome. They're welcoming you to overstay. But if you want to clarify, and I know like for me, especially now that I'm in chiropractic school, I try to have, I try not to be there all day because I do still have to study usually. So I'll reach out to an office and ask if I can shadow, and if they agree and don't tell me a specific time, I will ask, well, what specific times are you available for me to come in? What would be a good day? Because sometimes they have specific patients that you may be specifically interested in. Like if you voiced that you are interested in prenatal pediatric care, maybe on Tuesdays they see a lot of that patient population. So they may say, well, you know what, Tuesdays would be a really good idea, and most of those patients come between 9 a.m. and noon, or whatever. If it's athletic related, maybe most of their athletes come after school, and so it would be better for you to come shadow from in the afternoon, from 1 to 5 or whatever. So it's okay to be specific and just ask them, what is the best time frame for me to come shadow you? You can get specific, and if they say whatever you want, then just do whatever you want. I typically, when doctors say that, I typically will either go in the morning to lunch, or I will go in the afternoon from lunch to close. This next one asks, is asking brief questions while the chiro is working with a patient okay? That is another great question. It really depends. So for me, if a patient comes in and it's my mom, if it's my BFF, if it's my husband, like if I know them really well, I'm asking questions the entire time. If I'm comfortable with the doctor, for example, my mentor. So like when I go shadow my mentor and patients come in who I have seen before, I know who they are, I know that they're comfortable with me, asking questions, I will ask questions. But if it's a doctor's office that I've never been in, especially, okay, red flag this in your notes if you're taking notes. I don't know if you are, but red flag this, star this, especially if it's a new patient. Don't ask questions during a new patient appointment, because it's nice enough for that new patient and doctor to even let you be in there with a new patient, somebody who is experiencing that doctor in that office for the very first time. So don't ask questions in the middle of things. I would hold those questions to the end. Now, another thing that you can ask is, you can always ask the doctor, hey, are you comfortable with me asking questions? Or do you want me to wait until the end? You can always ask them. Communication is key. But another thing you can do before shadowing is ask if they would allow you to bring a notebook and a pen. And then when they're treating patients, you can jot down some questions that you have. And that way you don't forget those questions. And even if you leave the office not having been able to ask those, you can always reach back out to them through email or text or phone call, or the next time that you shadow, and you still have those questions written down so you don't forget them. So to answer your question in summary, it just depends on the doctor, but asking permission is always a good place to start. And if you really just don't feel comfortable doing it, journal them down so that way you can ask them at a later time. Next up, somebody asked, how often should I shadow or how much? Well, that depends. That's my go-to answer, is that depends. You know, if you are not in chiropractic school yet, do it as much as you can. If you have the time, I understand you may be working through undergrad, or even if you're not in undergrad, you know, you may be working, and I totally get that if you're super busy. But if you do have the time, like I look back on my time in my undergraduate career, and I am very pleased with the amount of time that I set aside to either work in a chiropractor's office or intern or shadow, because, and I feel like any adult would say this, not that I'm an adult, but like all the adults, I am an adult, but you know what I mean, but all of the wise elders in my life, you know, they say time only lessens the older you get. So right now you think you're busy, just wait, you know? And so I feel like that has rang so true as I've entered chiropractic school. It's like, as a pre-chiropractic student, I think you have this idea that when you get to chiropractic school, you'll have more time to shadow, and that's not the case at all, at all. So if you have time now, start shadowing. And I can't express that enough, because one of the benefits that comes from shadowing is mentorship. And if you can go ahead and start networking with doctors, and especially successful, passionate doctors before you get into school, when you're in school, you'll have them to go back to, so you won't have to stress about oh, I've got to reach out to people, that nerve-wracking process. Not that it is, but for some people it can be kind of nerve-wracking to just cold call a chiropractor and be like, hey, can I come in? So you'll already have a good network of doctors. But also it gives you somebody to text or call when you need advice, when you need to be reminded of your why, when you need a pep talk, when you need to hear somebody say, I've been through it, and you will get through it too. So shadow as much as you can right now, if possible. And then in chiropractic school, again, it's really hard, but I shadow at least once a trimester, if not more. So anytime I go home on a break, I try to get into my mentor's office, even if it's for an adjustment and to hang out for a few patients. Like I'm trying to soak in a little bit, or even if it's to go in for my adjustment and then talk with the staff and catch up with them and just kind of be in that office space. That's really important for me, because especially in my mentor's office, that's where my love for chiropractic grew. That's where my why was formed. And just being in the presence of that office and those people and those patients, it really rejuvenates me. But as far as going to new offices, like I said, I try to go to a new office at least once a trimester, and more if I can. Okay, so the next one is, how do you go about finding a place to shadow? There are so many different ways. Obviously, social media can get you very connected to different offices. If you're in chiropractic school, you can always reach out to the alumni department, like at Parker. They are always willing to connect students with Parker alumni who are in the area, who are passionate and successful and practicing and want to invest in students. They're always willing to do that. Another way would just be Googling chiropractors in my area, chiropractors around me, and going through their websites and, seeing what interests you. If you're interested in a certain subset of chiropractic, whether that's athletics, whether that is prenatal pediatric, whether that's whole family wellness, etc. See what resonates with you on their websites, and then give them a call, shoot them an email, go to their office and walk in and introduce yourself if you want. But there's no perfect way to do it. It's just important to do it, right? So it doesn't have to be perfect, but you need to be willing to put yourself out there in some way. And if that's through email, phone, in person, no matter what, just try to start putting yourself out there. And I think you'll be surprised at how welcoming chiropractors are. They want to see future chiropractors succeed. And I would really encourage chiropractic students and pre-chiropractic students who are nervous about reaching out to chiropractors to really try to shake that off. And if you have a bad experience, call me, text me, and let me know, because that is so rare. I have never heard, the only chiropractor, I will say this, the only chiropractor who is said that I can't shadow is somebody who has high profile clients. But they didn't just say no, like, sorry, you can't come in. It was, no, but you can come in and ask me questions, but you can't watch me treat patients due to that reason. So even though I am not going to be able to see what they do day in and day out, I still have the opportunity to meet them and ask them questions. And am I going to do it? Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the opportunity. So there's several different ways, like I said, social media, Googling, reaching out to your alumni department at your school. Those are 3 really great ways to get involved. And if you have a mentor or you have a chiropractor that you go to, ask them, hey, can I shadow you? And if you've already shadowed them, maybe ask, hey, do you know any other chiropractors in the area? I'd really just want to broaden my horizon and see as many chiropractors as I can and see as many offices as I can to figure out what I do and don't want in my future practice. Next step is, do you still shadow in grad school to get yourself out there? I feel like I don't have time. Girl, same. And we kind of already talked about this earlier in a previous question, but I'll just kind of hone in a little bit more on speaking to chiropractic school students. Yes, I still shadow. Like I said, I try to shadow a new office at least once a trimester. So 1 new office, 1 trimester. And outside of that, if I go home on breaks, I will try to get in an office that I know and love, and we'll stay there for a few hours. Like I said before, our time is only going to shorten our free time. Our free time is only going to get smaller and smaller and smaller throughout chiropractic school. And I mean, like, especially when we get into clinic, I just feel like we're going to be so busy with trying to study for boards and treating patients, obviously, it's just going to increase. So try to squeeze it in wherever you can. For example, last week we had a really big test week. We had 4 exams, including a practical. And so it was a big week. It's not finals yet or anything, but the week before that, I don't even remember how many tests or if we had tests that week, but I knew it was a lighter week for me. So I called or DM'd Dr. Courtney Gowan and just said, hey, I would love to come shadow if you're willing. I have time this week. Do you have time this week? What does that look like for you? And she responded and said, yes, come in this day. I'll be there at this time. We'd love to have you. And so I just put in my calendar that I was going to, on Wednesday morning from 9 to noon, I'm shadowing. And that's, I put it into my schedule as if it's a study time almost. And then after that, I had lunch and I came back home and I studied for the rest of the day. So I would just try to think of it as an opportunity to learn, obviously, but really an opportunity to figure out what kind of chiropractor you want to be and make it a priority, is what I'm trying to say. Make it a priority, because even though you don't feel like you have the time, and I know how you feel, totally know how you feel. I don't feel like I have the time either. But when you really think about the benefits that come from shadowing and all that you get out, what you you learn what you don't like, what you like. You get to network with doctors. You get to experience your why and your passion again. Each time you go into an office, it's like, okay, I need to be doing that, especially in the stress of school. Whenever school is most stressful for me, I find that if I get in an office the week before, the week after, whatever it is, totally new person, totally new perspective on school. So that would be my biggest piece of advice, is try to see it as an opportunity to learn, to network, to grow into the chiropractor that you want to be, and understand that it can truly rejuvenate you into finding that passion again for learning more in chiropractic school, so that way it hopefully prevents some burnout. I know that was a rant, but moral of the story is just try to prioritize it like you do all the other things. That week that I went and shadowed, I didn't plan anything up with friends. I was just like, okay, that's going to be kind of like one of my fun things to do that week. So maybe look at it like that too. Kind of cut away something that you do and replace it if you really feel like you don't have the time to squeeze it in. All right. One of the last questions is, what is the process to shadowing a chiropractor? Do you have to sign HIPAA forms? I have never had to sign HIPAA forms, so that's a very good question. I'm only speaking from personal experience. I have not had to. The process is typically, you reach out to a doctor, ask if you can shadow. I always ask some pretty standard questions, like what times do you have available, like we talked about earlier, to specify if they don't care when I come or if they prefer mornings, afternoons, or a specific time frame, a specific day. I'd always ask if I can bring a journal, especially if I don't know the doctor. So there's some doctors that I know and I know that they won't care, but especially if it's a completely new doctor that I've never met before, I'll ask them if I can bring a journal to jot down some questions so that way I don't forget them while we're meeting with patients. And then the third thing that I always ask is, what is the attire? Again, if I've been in their office before and I know that they wear something kind of like casual cute, then I'll just wear something like that. Like it was the case at Free to Be Chiropractic at the last place I shadowed, versus at my mentor's office when I shadow, I typically wear scrubs because that's what their team wears. So if you're unfamiliar with an office though, you can always ask, hey, what is the attire? What should I wear? A lot of times chiropractors will say whatever you want, but you're still in the same spot where you're like, okay, but what do I wear? So in that case, if they say truly whatever you want, I would try to look on their website to find pictures to see what they wear. So if they wear scrubs, maybe try wearing scrubs, but do not just go buy a pair of scrubs if they said like wear whatever you want, and they wear scrubs. Like, don't feel like you have to do that. Just wear something, not even business casual. I would wear jeans and maybe a shirt that is simple, so doesn't have a lot on it. Or you could even wear, like when I was a student at A&M, I had a doctor tell me, oh, just wear one of your A&M shirts. So I wore my Texas A&M Chiropractic Society shirt and some jeans and flats. So that's another option, just kind of on the more casual side of things. I've never been in an office that asked me to dress business casual by any means, even though I love a biz cash moment. I've never been in an office that asked that, so don't feel pressure to, but typically it's going to be something casual, yet not professional, but casual, but simple, like a university or college shirt, or scrubs is typically what I find. But always ask. That's always a great question to ask. And then after they answer those questions, I pretty much just add it to my schedule whenever it fits in, if it works with my schedule and theirs. And then I go shadow and I have a good time. How do you approach a doctor you want to shadow? So we've kind of covered this already, so I'm going to run through it super quick. You can either call them, email them, DM them, or walk into their office and introduce yourself. But there are some important things that I want to note in this video, since we're talking about shadowing, that I think are crucial and will kind of set you apart from other students that come through their office. And that is professionalism. And I've talked about this on some podcasts that I've been lucky enough to be a part of. And I believe that professionalism is something that will truly set you apart when interacting and networking with the doctors. So when you reach out to a doctor, introduce yourself. Hi, my name is Brooks Hill. Tell them your current situation. I'm a Doctor of Chiropractic student in trimester 2 at Parker University. And something that I would add would be something kind of personable, like, I hope you and your family are doing well through the start of 2021, or I hope you're enjoying this beautiful weather we've been having in Dallas, if you know that they're in Dallas, something like that to make it kind of warm and welcoming. So definitely be clear in your intentions. So then maybe the next part is how you heard of them. Oh, my mentor, Dr. So-and-so, recommended I reach out to you because of your success in your career and your passion for chiropractic. I would love to come shadow you. If you would allow this, please get back to me at this email or this phone number or whatever contact information you want. Thank you so much in advance. I can't wait to hear back. Have a wonderful week. And then your signature. So I believe even when you call somebody, introduce yourself, tell them who you are, and tell them what you want. Don't be afraid to be clear. Clear is kind, as my mother always says. So don't be afraid to be clear, and make sure that you say your full name so that way they know who you are. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but this is just something that I'm really passionate about. I feel like a lot of students don't think about these little things, and they really can set you apart, like I've been saying this whole time. So keep it in mind when you go, and practice it a few times before you call. Just, hey, my name is Brooks Hill. How are you today? Oh, great. Okay. Well, I am a Doctor of Chiropractic student at Parker University. I'm in trimester 2. I actually heard about your office at a seminar that I went to this weekend, and I really wanted to reach out because I think Dr. XYZ is somebody that I could learn a lot from. Does Dr. XYZ, or if you're speaking to the doctor, do you have any availability, or do you welcome students to come shadow in your office? I would be super thankful for the opportunity. So yeah, just put yourself out there, and if you need any other tips or advice, I'm always here. So feel free to DM me anytime. I'm happy to give you a pep talk if you need it. The last question we have is, do you shadow here in Dallas? And I have shadowed here in Dallas. Like I mentioned in one of my previous posts, I shadowed at Free to Be Chiropractic with Dr. Courtney Gowan. That was a great experience, highly recommend. They were a super sweet office, super sweet team, super sweet patients. It was a really great time. Another office that I will hope to be shadowing soon is Dr. Denisa Weber at Serving Life Chiropractic and the Chiropractic Guru. I will hopefully be connecting with her on scheduling a time. I've connected with these doctors, but I need to call and schedule a time. Dr. Michelle Krennick in Colleyville. I'll be going to visit her sometime soon. Oh gosh, who else? That might be it for now. Oh, I met some doctors at the Integrity event that I went to last week, 2 weeks ago, whenever it was. And so I need to reach out to them to actually schedule a time. But yeah, if y'all have any chiropractors that y'all have shadowed, please let me know in the comments below or DM me their name and office. I would love to reach out to them and just kind of connect and see if they allow me to shadow. But those are a few that I would highly recommend. You can find all of those people that I mentioned on Instagram. They are awesome. Most of them female chiropractors, and they've been really, really inspiring to follow on social media, and so I'm really lucky to have them so close to home. Dallas is home now, so and I look forward to being able to go into their offices soon. Well, that wraps things up for this Q&A. I hope that you enjoyed it. Y'all submitted some bomb questions per usual, so thank you so much again for those of you who submitted them. I really hope that I was able to answer them and I didn't ramble too much. Probably did, but that's okay. As you can tell probably with my rambling, I'm just super passionate about it, about helping y'all and helping pre-chiropractic students and just pre-healthcare professional students in this journey to becoming the best healthcare professional that they can be. And we're all in it together, you know, we're all in this together. So you're not alone. If you're nervous about shadowing, if you don't know where to start, if you have questions about it, you're not alone. We've all thought those things. So I hope this is a good resource for y'all. Please like, subscribe, and share this video if you know a student who this might help a lot, especially those who may not even realize the importance of shadowing and how important it can be for their educational career and their careers outside of graduation. So I really hope it helps, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!